The last panelist is Muthomi Thiankolu. And the reason I chose to have Muthomi as last is because I noticed he decolonized the dress. So Muthomi, you have the floor.
Many thanks, Prof. I've had many challenges with language and law. And in 6 minutes, maybe I can only allude to one. 10 years ago, Professor Githu Muigai and I were doing an election petition in which the issue was whether a certain woman attended a particular meeting whose minutes had actually been typed and placed on the record. And the witness, or rather the woman was called Wajiko, at least that's what the record showed. And Professor Githu Muigai kept asking the witness, "Are you sure Wajiko did not attend this meeting?" And the witness kept insisting, "There was no such person, my lord, as Wajiko at that meeting." And it became such a long standoff because we found it peculiar that one would deny something that was actually recorded. So it reached a point where Professor was forced to show him the minutes and ask him who is the person entered as number 5 on that list of attendance. Then the witness looks at the document and he says, "Oh, this one, my lord, her name is not Wajiko. She's not called Wajiko." So Justice Kimaru asked the witness, "Can you tell me what is her name?" We had lost about 10 minutes in all this. Then the witness tells the judge, "My lord, her name is Wajiko." That was my first and perhaps more dramatic encounters with language. But when I was given the list of questions yesterday and to reflect on other things, we again, with Prof, and to do a case relating to procurement of an item in the pharmaceutical world they call medroxyprogesterone acetate. And they said the evaluation formula for testing who could supply this compound was an organoleptic test. And then the product itself had to be manufactured in accordance with the standards in the British Pharmacopoeia or the American Pharmacopoeia. And I recall sitting down to prepare and asking, what are all these things? And at the end of the day, Professor and I were surprised that this was a tender for supply of Depo-Provera, which is an injectable contraceptive. And all along, to cut a long story short, we went to unpack to the tribunal what this meant. I also went to reflect on a poem I was forced to recite in 1996 about the naming of an African child by Everett Stander. And one of the lines I still recall from the poem was the persona telling someone who appeared to be his beloved wife, "Suppose you were born 1,000 years from today and went to the museum of 1,000 years from today and came across a book written by a famous African philosopher, engineer, or whatever, by the name Bogas Crankshaft. Wouldn't you wish that the man was called Mutali or Okello instead of the meaningless so-called Christian names, Bogas Crankshaft?" And the last reflection I had on this was from a play again I was forced to study in Swahili, luckily, called Amezidi. And in 2 of the incidents relating around education, now that we're institutions of education, the teacher, having slept through the first lesson of a debo, suddenly woke up after the bell signifying the end of the first lesson to holding a cane, telling the students to recite the Archimedes principle. And after the student, for fear of the cane, recited the Archimedes principle, one of the students asked the teacher, "Why is it that all these years we've been reciting the Archimedes principle, we have not made even a simple boat that is seaworthy as the country of Amezidi?" And in another incident, this time taking place in the state house of that mythical country called Amezidi, the president complains that his fridge and electrical kettle are broken, and he asks that the engineers from Amezid be brought to fix the electrical fault. Then he's told, no, we can't, our engineers only know the theory. If you ask them about electrical circuits and whatnot, they know the theory, but if it comes to actually fixing electrical faults, that's a different cup of tea for them. But Your Excellency, we have ordered engineers from the European community to come and fix. So when I made all these reflections, for me, it came to one question. What is the place of language in education? What is the place of language in our disciplines and professions? And in my limited understanding, I see language as a code. You know, the way we talk of softwares being coded, and in that code is to be found the entire corpus of a community's heritage, wisdom, technology, experiences, values, beliefs, and whatnot. If we take that language, therefore, is coded wisdom, coded heritage, if we take language to be an assemblage of an entire community's knowledge in whatever shades, then I ask myself, what is law? Because law is expressed in language. And I subscribe to myself to the view that law is a tool of socio-economic and political engineering. And then the question, therefore, was, if language is a code of a community's entire knowledge, experience, history, and whatnot, can a law written in a foreign language accurately capture a society's entire corpus of knowledge, experience, history, values, beliefs, and all the socio-economic and political norms of that society? And I found myself asking, could it be? Is it possible that even the rule of law challenges we have in this country are perhaps a direct result of every one of us not properly understanding the law? And could it be a result that maybe our laws do not even accurately capture our true values? They are not a reflection of the type of people we are, of the type of values we espouse, and therefore it is no surprise, therefore, that in certain contexts, actually breaching the law sets out as a hero when it should be the other way around, in the eyes of the community and in the eyes of the society. And I was asking myself, could it be even our technical justice problems? You know, for a long time in this country, we had this problem of legalistic and technical approach to administration of justice that I think bombers and other processes have now resolved by saying our administration of justice shall not be unduly captured by technicalities of procedure. And I was asking myself, could our judges' recourse to those legal and procedural technicalities be a reflection of their poor understanding of the role and place of law in our society? Is law an end in itself, and especially if it is captured in a dialect that is alien? And I found myself asking, can the people, the ordinary mythical person, genuinely appreciate or associate with or respect a law that is supposedly governing them, but which was conceived overseas in a very different social and economic? And I see my political enemies are telling Dr. Juma to add my time. My last point is, and this should get all of us worried, could it be that all of us here, including the professors in the room, including all those guys with PhDs here, could it be that even our most learned and acclaimed policymakers, politicians, government bureaucrats, judges, professors, lawyers, etc., could it be that we actually do not fully understand the role and purpose of the laws we have adopted in this country, and hence the various socio-economic and political challenges we have, and could the explanation for that lie in the language employed in codifying our laws. Thank you very much.